That's a wrap, folks. Season 1 of Pluribus has finally come to an end. That once-a-week release schedule was pretty rough, huh? Let's dig into what went down and how we feel about the way Vince Gilligan left things. Leading up to the finale, things take a major turn in episodes 6 and 7. After Carol learns that the others can't assimilate her without her permission, which would require them harvesting some of her stem cells, she heads off to enjoy the rest of her life. So what if the hive mind is subsisting off of dead people that are boiled down to a honey-like goo? Who cares if a whole bunch of them will eventually starve to death once their very limited food supply runs out? Doesn't concern her at all anymore. So she golfs, she steals art, she sets off a buttload of fireworks, all while pounding tall boys. Living the dream, right? Well, it doesn't take too long for Carol to get more lonely than she already was to begin with. So she gives in to her desires and begs for Zosha and the rest of them to come back. They do, and the thing that we totally knew was going to happen finally happens. Yep, after we're forced to endure way too much sexual tension between the two of them, they finally seal the deal. And we get it. Stockholm Syndrome, the phenomenon where a captive becomes sympathetic towards their captor, is very real. And Carol's situation with the others is, in a lot of ways, way less desperate than that. It was only a matter of time before she caved. This whole development comes at a pretty awkward time. While it's all going down, Manousos makes a journey from Paraguay all the way to New Mexico after he realizes that Carol isn't infected. Not all on his own, mind you. He has to be saved by the others, much to his chagrin, after he tries to traverse a dangerous jungle all by his lonesome. Other than that, though, he manages to get there without any help. When he arrives, the two of them are both unsurprisingly distrustful of each other, so much so that they can't even agree on how to talk to each other at first.
We talk in the ambulance.
No, we talk in the casa.
But when they finally do, their goals don't quite align like they would have a mere week or two before. While Manousos is totally on board to thwart the others and restore the world to its original state, Carol kinda just wants to dive headfirst into her new fantasy world and live happily ever after with Zosha. She doesn't explicitly tell him this, but it's heavily implied. Things come to a head real quick when Manousos attempts to forcefully interrogate the others, which results in Zosha and all the others glitching out. He does seem to be onto something, though. Remember all the radio frequencies he was methodically testing back in Paraguay? There was one he found that he didn't cross out, and he attempts to use it to bring someone back. Carol stops him before it gets too far, but it might have worked? We'll have to wait and see. After this, Carol officially bails on her mission to save the world and heads off to enjoy a sweet vacay with her new girlfriend. It's all pretty nice for Carol at first. She and Zosha hit up a bunch of different spots around the globe, enjoying each other's company like they're the only two people left in the world. Or at least that's how Carol perceives it. Things eventually all come crashing down when Zosha confesses to some pretty big news. They actually have found a way to harvest Carol's stem cells without needing her express permission to do so. How? Well, the clue was presented to us earlier in the same episode. Remember when Manousos finds the weird sensor in her liquor cabinet?
The device is a movement sensor. It detects when the cabinet is opened, then records it.
Turns out, Helen put it there to monitor Carol's drinking back when they were trying to harvest her eggs and have a child together via a surrogate. Kinda sneaky and gross, but it's all water under the bridge now. What matters now is that the others, after figuring this out, snagged some of Carol's preserved eggs and stole her stem cells that way, all without violating her bodily autonomy. Directly, anyway. It's definitely still a violation, but not by their weird hive mind logic. Either way, this means that the ticking clock has been reactivated, and Carol has a pretty limited amount of time to figure out how to stop them from assimilating her. How long exactly?
A month. Hopefully, no more than 2 or 3.
Yikes. Just like that, Carol's fantasy of living out her life with Zosha goes boom. But that doesn't mean Carol doesn't have a bomb of her own to drop. After coming to terms with the harsh reality of her situation for a second time, she heads on back to New Mexico to reconvene with Manousos, who is still chilling in her cul-de-sac. She doesn't just pull into the driveway, though. She shows up in a helicopter, piloted by Zosha, of course. The chopper has a payload too, which Zosha carefully sets down before flying off to go rejoin her hive mind buds. But what's in there?
What's in the box? What's in the f***ing box?
JK, we totally know what's in there.
What is this?
Atom bomb.
Yep, turns out the whole nuke thing isn't hyperbolic after all. And that's where Vince Gilligan chooses to leave things until season 2 drops. Now that it's over, we've been thinking about the show as a whole and reevaluating our thoughts on characters, plot, pacing, all the stuff that works together to make a show good or bad, or as it is in most cases, somewhere in between. And you know what? After all is said and done, our opinion hasn't changed since we binged the first 2 episodes. we think it's pretty great. From its opening moments to the big zoom out at the end of episode 9, Pluribus is a slow burn in every sense of the term. There's hardly any action to speak of. Character conflicts are rare since there are only a few actual regular people around, most of whom don't even want to talk to Carol. There's extraterrestrial technology, but not once do we see any aliens, and we probably never will. When taken at face value, it's a show that lacks many of the things that make so many other series great. And yet, it's totally fine. It works because the premise is strong enough to make up for these superficial deficiencies. It's a thought-provoking show that allows us, the viewers, to create drama in our heads as we watch, and even afterwards while we go about our days. While so many other shows spoon-feed audiences exposition and tell them what to think, Pluribus respects our intelligence and allows us to fill in the pieces ourselves. This is an especially rare thing that we deeply appreciate. And really, who needs more crazy sci-fi set pieces and alien invasions at this point? Looks like Steven Spielberg might soon be scratching that eternal itch for us anyway with Disclosure Day. We'll say that the one thing that maybe could have been handled better is the pacing, specifically the bit where Carol runs off with Zosha. The whole arc of this plot point is basically resolved within 1 or 2 episodes' time. It would have been fun to have this drawn out a bit more for the sake of building suspense and whatnot, but honestly, this isn't even a gripe, just an observation about a show that has, for the most part, managed to stay true to itself throughout its first 9-episode run. But where does Pluribus go from here? Let's speculate, just for fun. Initially, we thought that Carol and Manousos might determine where the others are working with her stem cells, find a way to nuke the place, and forever put an end to this route of assimilation. They can't do diddly squat without the cells, right? But that would be too easy and obvious. Plus, it wouldn't really solve the actual problem. Everyone would still be part of the hive mind, so our theory, which is a riff on various bits of fan conjecture, goes like this. The radio frequency Manousos finds has to mean something. We already know that it probably doesn't wake people up if they listen to it for long enough. Yes, Carol doesn't really give him a chance to keep trying in episode 9, but still, it doesn't feel like this is the answer. What if it actually works the opposite way? What if the frequency is being broadcasted from some unknown location on Earth as a means of reinforcing the psychic glue and keeping the hive mind intact? Going with that theory, Carol and Manousos figure out how to locate where the signal is being broadcasted from. Problem is, the others have found a way to safeguard it from being messed with, maybe by putting it in a bunker or something. But it's all good. Carol and Manousos find a way to deploy the nuke and destroy whatever it is. Not sure exactly how they do that, but it's possible, right? The complication, though, is what happens when everyone wakes up and regains their autonomy. It might not go very well. It's possible a great many of them might be pretty angry that their everlasting bliss was taken away from them. And that would just be their initial reaction. Sort of like drug withdrawal. Don't forget how many people have died since this whole takeover went down, almost 1 billion. The emotional devastation would be incomprehensible and would probably lead to chaos. It might even lead to all-out war if everyone starts blaming each other for what happened instead of focusing on the signal that came from space. That would be just like us, wouldn't it? So the twist is that Carol and Manousos have to find a way to rebroadcast the signal and revive the hive mind before the entire world goes up in flames. Then they're back to square one. This is just one theory. What do you think is going to happen next? Let us know in the comments.